It was 6 o'clock hours, or so he guessed. He hadn't seen the sun in months. Down in the deep shelters, they didn't measure time by the sunrise, but by the saturation levels of their air filters. His morning routine was always the same. First, a seal check. Then, radiation levels. The scanner showed that the outside level had dropped from fatal to severe. It was his lucky day. Breakfast was a protein tablet and recycled water that tasted like rusty iron. But the traveler did not complain, because he was not alone. Good morning, little one. Today was the big day. Today the seed was going home. His grandfather used to tell him that a seed is the dream of a forest. That glass jar didn't just hold a leaf. It held everything humanity had lost. The laughter of children playing in parks, naps taken in the shade of a tree. Everything was hidden inside that fragile glass. They were on the move. Target, the northern dome. As the traveler walked, he stepped on the remnants of the old ones. The ruins appeared to be an ancient library, with rotting books scattered on the ground. Humans were strange creatures, he thought. They were busy killing each other even as the world was ending. Bullet holes on the walls told the story of their folly. Humanity had killed nature, and she showed them no mercy. First, the bees vanished, then the crops withered, and finally, the wars began. Everyone strangled their neighbor for a piece of bread. Now, he walked in this silent city, accompanied only by the ghosts of a noisy past. Suddenly, he froze. A metallic click echoed in the silence. It wasn't the wind. The wind had a rhythm. This sound was irregular. Scavengers, the vultures of the new world. To them, the plant meant nothing. To them, the traveler was just a walking spare parts depot. They wanted his armor, his tubes, even his bones. Was he scared? Yes. Not of dying, but of failing. If they caught him, the jar would break. And if the jar broke, humanity's last chance would break with it. They were too close. He could almost hear their breathing in the dark. He had been spotted. Stealth was over. Now it was just survival instinct. He ran. He ran until his legs burned. Shots fired from behind, bullets shattering the concrete around him. He heard the buzz of death passing right over his head. He took a sharp left into the alley. There was only one way out, Death Valley. He had to go in there, straight into the storm. The scavengers wouldn't follow him there. No one who entered the storm ever came back. But he had no choice. He silently asked his grandfather for forgiveness and plunged into the dust. He didn't know where he was anymore. The air felt impossibly heavy. His oxygen levels were critical, down to 7%. The toxic dust began to play tricks on his mind. Through the haze, he saw a shape ahead. Was that an oak tree? No, it couldn't be. He hallucinated his grandfather, waving at him, calling him to a place where the air was clean. The heat inside the suit was unbearable. He felt an overwhelming urge to take off his helmet and take a deep breath. But a voice inside his head screamed, "No, it's a lie. It's oxygen starvation." He forced his eyes open and looked at the glowing jar. That was what was real, not the dream. His legs finally refused to move. The dome was right there, close enough to touch, yet light years away. His oxygen was depleted. The reserve tank was his last chance. But there was a problem. The connection valve was damaged. He could connect the tank to himself or to the jar. There wasn't enough pressure for both. Strangely, the fear vanished. All his life, he had looked for a purpose. He had asked why he survived when others died. The answer was right there, resting in his palms. He realized he was not the hero of this story. He was just the vessel. He connected the tube to the jar. He gave his last breath to the seed. "Here you go, little one," he thought. "This last gift is for you." Through fading eyes, he saw the massive doors opening. The metal angels were coming to take the seed. No one would remember the traveler's name. But maybe one day, the children sitting under the shade of a new forest would hear his whisper in the wind. And with that thought, he closed his eyes for the last time.